Season formats are fun. Eliminations are a thrill ride. TJ is amazing. Although what brings fans back each and every season is the cast and their unique personalities that they bring. Over the years, we've seen many stans standing strong for their favorites, excited to see them play multiple seasons. However, the challengers on today's list are not in that category. We're going to break down the top 10 challengers on MTV's banned list. These challengers are going to be ranked based on how big of a hole they left in the casting pool, as well as storylines that had to be dropped dead. Not every challenger on this list is permanently banned, nor do we condone the mistakes that they have made.
Now, not every ban is treated the same. Some people we know will never be back, and some get a little slap on the wrist and have to take off a few seasons. Players such as Jordan and Rogan have been in the spotlight for their actions, and to the community's knowledge, will be back after a short break. The term ban gets thrown around, yet not every player will be gone forever. Love War Challenges presents The Hit List. MTV's The Challenge, the biggest bans in challenge history. If you want to see more content on MTV's The Challenge, make sure you hit that subscribe button and listen to Love War Challenges on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Let's get to the hit list.
Before we hit the top 10, we have two honorable mentions. Shane and Maddie. They both just barely missed the mark. For Shane, he has been calling up production following the treatment of his fellow Lavender lady, Amanda, back on War of the Worlds 1, and the Tapegate, you could say. When it comes to any job, the best way to get a red flag on yourself is to call out those in charge or those giving you money. Shane, in the game, constantly goes after top dogs and never backs away from providing excellent interviews and as well as great athletic performances in dailies, as long as they're not heights. For Maddie, a third DUI was all it took to remove her from MTV's list. In a day and age where so many taxi apps exist, driving under the influence should never happen. Maddie was looked at as somebody who had potential to be the next Laurel in eyes of production. Her size and athletic ability provided the show with a dominant force. These two are missed to a degree, but didn't leave the hole these others on the list did.
Number 10, Tanya Cooley. Tanya went through legal action and sued MTV due to the treatment she felt she was given by her castmates over her time on the show. Everything escalated during the filming of The Ruins with the toothbrush scandal. We will get to that later. And the fact she felt production didn't care enough about her safety to step in. Tanya was always known for being a bit of a party girl that got out of hand on occasion. She was the type of competitor that was on vacation for the challenge and took full advantage. This led to her being on the outs more times than not on her time in the challenge. A veteran of 8 seasons with 1 championship, Tanya was an underrated competitor who was often overlooked yet performed exceptionally well. When Tanya left the show, it created a hole of a party girl underdog that MTV couldn't replace for quite some time.
Number 9, Naya Moore. Naya came into the MTV world late, as she was a replacement cast member on her season of The Real World Portland. In her season, she developed the name Hurricane Naya for a reason. Verbal fights with castmate Jordan and Johnny, as well as a fist fight with Avery. This was foreshadowing how she could act on a show, yet she was still kept in the casting pool. In Naya's second season, she made it all the way to the Final Four before verbally attacking Sarah and even touching Jordan inappropriately. These types of actions don't stand in today's challenge world as we move forward to a physical respect culture on the show. Naya's 2 seasons, however, showed that she was one who can cause some chaos and would fit into the new era of challengers for her mental gameplay. Unfortunately for her, crossing the lines seems to have crossed her off future casting calls.
Number 8, Georgia. UK standout Georgia Harrison made her debut back on War of the Worlds 1 as part of the British invasion. At first, Georgia looked like a layup, but her partnership with veteran Hunter soon proved to be a successful one once they stepped into the daily challenges. Even though Georgia has ongoing issues with her on-again, off-again lover, Stephen Bear, her troubles with production began when old photos of her wearing blackface began to emerge. Now, there's been a lot done to try to have her name cleared, not just from herself, but also her friends and family. When Georgia was on the show, she performed as a true competitor and as somebody that you shouldn't underestimate. Georgia is currently still on TikTok and Instagram, so being in the public eye doesn't seem to bother her. Time will tell if MTV is willing to believe her side of the story and bring her back on future seasons.
Number 7, Dee. Another person that debuted on War of the Worlds 1 was Dee. Partnered with savvy veteran Wes, her mentor, Dee was getting positioned to be the potential face of the franchise, whether fans like it or not. Unfortunately for Dee, some racially insensitive tweets popped up through her social media and have now put her on a ban list. There's been a lot done from herself and others to have the negative light taken away from her, but from her Total Madness edit, or lack thereof an edit, it's clear that production has taken this seriously. During her first 3 seasons, she made it very far, placing as a top 5 female in each of those seasons, even winning a championship on War of the Worlds 2. Taking itself ban from social media seems to be a step in the right direction, and only time will tell if return to the challenge.
Number 6. Bear. Pegged as the future golden boy for the franchise in the face of the British invasion, Stephen Bear and the massive salary he was paid by MTV appeared to be worth it. Then he created an OnlyFans, and everything went downhill from there. Allegations of posting videos without his partner's approval, as well as scandals involving underage females, have turned the challenge community and production against the man once dubbed as TV Gold. With future lawsuits on hand and MTV now pretending that they care about the character of their cast, the return of Stephen Bear is unlikely. While Bear shows flashes of success and massive popularity in his short time, his personal demons seem to be getting in his own way.
Number 5. Evan. This Canadian burst onto the scene with his physical dominance and social competence on the challenge. A 2-time challenge champion who is always looked at as a threat to go far in games is permanently banned from returning to the show. As kind of highlighted before when talking about Tanya, Evan was a part of the infamous toothbrush scandal back on the Ruins. The situation turned into a he said, she said, and this incident will sadly never know its truth except for those involved. Evan has appeared on multiple interviews since this event, yet due to legal issues is not allowed to actually speak on this. Evan was always one of those people that was dominating a show from start to finish. And one night of potential bad ideas has led to him being permanently banned. While a return will likely never happen, the amount of dominance Evan carried season to season left a hole in casting that took years to replace.
Number 4. Turbo. This man never even got 2 full seasons and has been banned for safety issues for the cast and crew. A dominating finals performance on War of the Worlds 1 made Turbo one of the very few rookie champions on the challenge. On War of the Worlds 2, a heated argument provoked by teammates Jordan saw Turbo enraged to the point where it was impossible for security to hold him back from fighting Jordan. Many have seen this move as a smart strategy for the veteran, while others have said it was just a scared move because Jordan didn't believe that he was going to be able to take Turbo out at any point during the game. Turbo has been known to have a temper when confronted, and if he can't fix this issue, then future seasons seem to be out of the question. Turbo's quote-unquote ban is more of a word of mouth than an actual confirmation, but if this holds true, then fans of the show missed out on what could have been one of the most dominant challengers of the 30s.
Number 3. CT. While he is no longer on the ban list, there was a time when safety of the challengers appeared to be at risk due to the unstable nature of CT. Always known as his own worst enemy, his inability of self-control and constant attacking of other castmates left production in a state of panic. Due to gossip and rumors, CT finally broke to a point of no return and got into a heavy physical altercation with former Real World Paris castmate Adam. CT had also punched Davis in the past, got in verbal drunken fights with Coral, among many other castmates. Production removed him from the show until they did a little trial run on Cutthroat as he returned as a mercenary. Appearing to change his ways and becoming more laid back, CT returned as a mainstay on Rivals 1. Since then, a more mature, grown-up dad version of CT has won 3 championships, 4 if you include the spinoff, and a return to being a fan favorite, this time for all the right reasons.
Number 2. Kenny Santucci. This situation can be linked directly back to everything said about Evan earlier in the power ranking. Kenny was seen by most as the leader of the JEK Alliance. His inability to remove himself from the potential heartbreaking event has led him to being on this ban list. The reason Kenny ranks higher than Evan is due to the fact that he was either the favorite to root for or the favorite to root against each and every season. A multi-time finalist, 3-time champion, and leading character on the show for many years sets him apart from his Alliance member. A return does not seem possible at this point. However, Kenny has been involved in multiple interviews over the past few years talking about his challenge career.
Number 1. Camilla. At the peak of her game, Camilla was a top 3 female performer of all time on the challenge. Camilla has had multiple red flags that have put her at high risk and is now somebody that cannot be insured. Turning into the Camillinator when intoxicated has led to some pretty embarrassing moments for Camilla. The first major red flag was making racial comments towards castmate Leroy. The edit from that point on in Dirty 30 turned almost to a negative vibe every time she was on screen. Leroy's forgive but not forget mindset allowed Camilla to continue on with that season. At the filming of Champs vs. Stars, Camilla was removed from competition after a drunken tirade that led to an unstable and unsafe workplace for the cast and crew. These drunken tirades have led Camilla to be too much of a liability going forward. Still involved in casting calls, it wouldn't be surprised if Camilla eventually made her return. So, what do you think about these unofficial official power rankings? Where were we right, or where are we wrong? Show us who you all have in your top 10 list down below, and who do you guys think left the biggest hole in casting after they were banned?
Thank you all for listening. Make sure you listen to Love War Challenges podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more challenge-based lists in the future. A very big shout out to Lyoko for helping with the research and the making of this list. I am MTV Malik. He is Tyler Louder. This is Love War Challenges, the hit list.